that will burn.
I'd love to see you drag.
The worldwide phenomenon is now streaming only on Disney+.
For the future.
For the throne. For Wakanda. The Black Panther lives!
Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Rated PG-13. Now streaming. And now, get 3 months of Disney Plus Basic for only $6.99 a month.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining me here. We're Think About It Thursdays on Conversations with Taz. Ignore the bonnet. I ain't feel like doing my hair today, and I feel like my bonnet is cute. So that's what y'all gonna get today. And if you complain about it, you're anti-Taz and anti-Black. You don't want to be that. And yes, I'm still in my safety safe number 2 hoodie. Argue with your mama. I'm fresh off, my vacation to the Grippy Sock Casino and Resort. Do with that what you will. But we're about to get all up into the nit and gritty. Now, I already talked to you about the book banning, but here's book banning 2.0. Let's talk about it, child.
What I'm about to tell you deserves way more attention than my little account can give it. So please, please share this. And if a larger creator wants to tell this story, please do. You do not have to credit me. I don't give a shit about views. Hoover City Schools, Birmingham, Alabama, scheduled a Black author, Derek Barnes, to read one of his children's books to their elementary schools and then canceled him at the last minute. Now, at first they tried to claim that they were canceling him because he failed to provide some contract materials that they had asked for. However, the superintendent, D. Fowler, later retracted that claim and admitted that it was due to a parent complaint. Hoover, this is about to blow up in your face and you deserve it. You are a public school system caving to the demands of the few at the educational expense of the many. If that parent had a problem with this author, they can keep their kid at home that day. This isn't the first issue we've had with parents in this school district. During COVID, when we had online learning, a group of parents went into an absolute uproar because there was a lesson in the 7th grade online curriculum that talked about the Stonewall riots. This was a history lesson for a civil rights movement. This man is an award-winning children's book author. His book, I Am Everything Good, was a New York Times bestseller. They called him phenomenal. He's been a National Book Award finalist, and he recently won the Vasa Award for Excellence in Nonfiction. The librarian from Gwen Elementary who booked Mr. Barnes booked him in April of 2022 for February, Black History Month 2023. Told him she had 3 schools that she knew were interested and that they had 11 elementary schools in total, that she could probably book him for the whole week. So obviously, Hoover City Schools had no problem with this author until that parent complained. And do you know what that complaint was? The author had social media posts that contained controversial ideas. I went through Mr. Barnes' Instagram and all I saw was a loving father and an award-winning author. But regardless, Mr. Barnes wasn't coming to those schools to discuss his personal beliefs. He was coming to read his award-winning children's book. There are a lot of Black kids in that school system, and they are surrounded by nothing but whiteness year-round. And you're going to cancel the one chance that they had to have someone that looks like them read to them from a book that contains characters that look like them? You're going to take away the one chance they had to feel represented in this community. Are you really that small-minded, selfish, and yes, racist? D. Fowler is the superintendent for Hoover City Schools, and this is his office number. If you live in this area and you are as unhappy about this as I am, please let it be known. And even if you don't live here, if you want to support Mr. Barnes, he is still scheduled to speak at the Hoover City Library on February 7th. He lost a lot of money in this, so go buy his books on Amazon.
For people that always accuse non-white people of making everything about race, see, the default, it only takes one complaint from them. We have to organize protests, get petitions, lobby for legislation for anybody to listen to a monochrome of what we say. But one white parent said, oh, my child will be uncomfortable with this because your child won't be centered in the conversation. But we're supposed to be okay with never being centered in the conversation, never being represented, our stories never being told. We're supposed to be okay with our history being whitewashed and centered around a mythical white savior. So, fuck. how non-white kids and non-white adults feel. Doesn't matter if we feel uncomfortable. Doesn't matter if we feel bad. Just as long as the default still feels like the default. Okay. Let's move on to the spy balloons. All right.
And then when I saw it again, this came up.
One of the Chinese military's tools, high-altitude balloons. They've been testing them for years, as this 2018 video shows. The U.S. shot down this suspected Chinese spy balloon last week. Beijing calls it a civilian weather balloon. They gave the same explanation to CNN on Monday for a second balloon over Latin America. CNN obtained images of similar Chinese balloons hovering over Taiwan in recent months, including this one on New Year's Eve, and this one a few months earlier. At least 4 balloon sightings in the last 2 years, says Su Zuyun, director of Taiwan's Institute for National Defense and Security Research. Down. Why do these Chinese balloons pose such a threat?
The spy balloon across to the Montana state, a very important ICBM site of the United States.
Nope. Nope.
So they've been cited in the United States since 2018. But the first the public is hearing about is in 2023. And people are being upset because confidential top secret information is not being released to the public, while the public is still upset why top secret confidential files are being found. Just say y'all don't want to hold Trump and his administration accountable for anything. Just say that. It would take less energy, fewer words, fewer characters. But you know, the GOP is full of gaslighting, smoke screening, sleight of hand. They are the magicians of politics. And no, I don't trust any politician. Y'all know, if you follow me on any social media platform, especially here, I criticize everybody. I got jokes for everybody. I got criticisms for everybody. My takes on history will ruin what you learned in school, what your mama, your papa, your granny, your papa, your granddaddy, your grandma, your mama, and your daddy told you about history. I know that, okay? Taz ruins everything, okay? I get that. But remember the State of the Union address? I wasn't here to talk to y'all about it because, you know, I'm still on vacation at the Grippy Sock Casino and Resort. And just so y'all know, some of my co-residents of the island of misfit toys have agreed to come on here, and we're going to do a panel so we can talk about our experience at the Grippy Sock Casino and Resort. And some things that we found out while being there and afterwards. But I digress. That's a conversation for another day. But let's get into this GOP defense. Eon.
Byron Donalds and Mike Lee are two clowns in a circus as they try to defend the fact that Republicans apparently never said they wanted to get rid of Social Security and Medicare. Take a look. We have receipts.
Delineation is with respect to the debt ceiling. No Republican has said we're going to look at Social Security and Medicare. No Republican.
The President of the United States looked us right in the eye and mischaracterized what half the people in the chamber believe, what half the people in the chamber, according to him, want. It wasn't true.
I'm here right now to tell you one thing that you probably haven't ever heard from a politician. It will be my objective to phase out Social Security, to pull it up by the roots and get rid of it. people who advise me politically always tell me that's dangerous, and I tell them, in that case, it's not worth my running.
What these pathological liars don't understand is in this day and age of technology, what they say will always be recorded and it will be held against them if they try to refute it. That being said, this is just despicable of the Republican Party trying to protect themselves, knowing damn well they were about to do something that was detrimental and reckless, to say the least. As we bring forward media that is highlighting the true intentions of the Republican Party, it becomes clearer and clearer that they want to suck the financial wealth, prosperity out of the lower and middle class, and honestly the upper middle class as well, solely to protect the elite wealth in this country. And that is it. Follow for more as we keep them accountable.
You know what? I'm just going to touch on Mr. Byron Donalds because on my main page, TashJ77, for those that are watching on different platforms, in the playlist marked news updates, there's his appearance on The Readout with Miss Joy Reid, where he was asked specifically about it. And he talked about being this financial guru. Y'all go take a look at it. That's all I'm going to say. Now, we already know that Marjorie Taylor, did she sustain the last name of Green even though they're divorced? Because it seemed like that husband wanted to distance himself so much from her. But maybe he's working on a book. I don't know. But let's take a look at her saying all the quiet parts out loud, all at once.
I know a ton of white people that are as lazy and sorry and probably worse than black people I know.
Isn't it amazing that we became lazy and sorry when our labor was no longer free? When they couldn't impose black codes or trespassing laws against us. When we no longer had to carry around a piece of paper proving that we had a job. When we were no longer considered 3/4 of a citizen. When our debt to America was not based upon our gender nor our age. Oh, y'all didn't know about that? Yeah, you do know more white people that are lazy and are mediocre, just like yourself, MTG. As Double D Mother would say, musty Marjorie. Of course you do, because if y'all weren't lazy and complacent and mediocre, you wouldn't have had to steal us. You're proving the point that we make when we say that history is whitewashed. Now, for you fellow racist, white supremacist trope upholding, white supremacist tenets upholding, GOP conservatives and pseudo-Christians, explain why the Republican governor of Ohio, you know what? We're just going to roll the clips.
The president called me and said, anything you need. I have not called him back after that conversation. I will not hesitate to do that if we're seeing a problem or anything, but I'm not seeing it. The president called me and said, anything you need. I have not called him back. Not hesitate to do that if we're seeing a problem or anything, but I'm not seeing it.
Using to cover it. There's a massive environmental disaster currently unfolding.
This was a photo that was taken from a passenger plane that was flying over or just near East Palestine, Ohio. And it's the chemical fire after the train crash. And
here is an updated map. Do you see how these are creating a circle around the...
And then they're telling everybody it's fine? It's fine. Vinyl chloride, when you burn it, goes into the fucking atmosphere, bonds with water, and turns into acid rain. Acid rain. Shit, I thought Captain Planet handled all the acid rain already.
Now let's make no mistake. You want to know why we're having so many train derailments right now? These aren't passenger trains. Before y'all go, but Taz, we had train derailments on Amtrak. Those are passenger trains. And then there were regulations put into place. You want to know who rolled back those regulations and regulations on so many industries that technically should no longer exist because we don't even run on what they're producing, what they're mining. So you have people working for pennies on the dollar for what? For something nobody's buying. Trump took away those regulations. Let's not forget who he put in charge of the environment, of the EP. See, for those of y'all that go, I don't agree with Trump, but he didn't do that much damage. Y'all need to stop. This is no different than when I worked at the hospital. And I had to explain to a boss that was old enough to be my grandparent that you cannot blame me for walking in on a Monday morning and having to deal with the work that my predecessor did not do the week before when we rotate tasks week to week. That's what we're dealing with right now. The predecessor set us up for failure. Trump knows how to make other people look bad. And he knows the people who support him. This is why he said to their faces, he loves the uneducated. He's uneducated. That's why he knows he can only get over on those that are just like him. He can grift those that are just like him. He knows the feeble-minded because he's feeble-minded. So while y'all out here giving him praise for Obama's economy and then blaming Joseph Robinette Biden for what Trump put into place while he's sitting back thinking that none of this would affect him. He didn't look at the railroad system. The way the railroads are set up in this country, and I'll admit, I was well into my 30s. My youngest daughter wanted to go see a documentary at a place near where we lived about the train system in the United States. And it was several hours long. It was well worth it. I chef's kiss to her. Kudos to my babies. And the fact that they got even a monochrome of my history bug in them. I learned how the railroad, it's circular. Y'all haven't noticed that? Y'all think everything crisscrosses. And what you are doing right now with this culture war, with this war on wokeness, other countries have learned from the racism in the United States that they know you will be so preoccupied on trying to put a knee on the neck of Black people specifically that everybody will be so distracted onto that. That they don't have to do nothing. They don't have to do anything. It's like the myth of voodoo. And I'm saying the myth of voodoo, where they say, oh, once you get it into your mind, that's how it works. Because what goes up must come down. Y'all watch all these zombie movies, all these other things where it saturates into the soil. We're now, all right. I guess when we get firmly into our Mad Max age, y'all will finally wake up. Y'all let Trump get away with so much under the guise of, if you talk about racism, it's going to keep going forward. If you talk about ableism, it's going to keep going forward. If you keep talking about transphobia, it's going to keep going forward. If you keep talking about homophobia. Okay. See, the difference between politicians where we could get things passed and politicians today, politicians of yesteryear understood legacy and how they would be portrayed in history books. Politicians today don't care because they have it in their mind that the majority agrees with them. See, even when it was okay to be overtly racist, politicians realized that ain't gonna be the world forever. And everybody doesn't agree with what I'm doing. But remember the young terrorist that walked into a predominantly Black grocery store and murdered a bunch of people and then gave us a bogus ass faux apology. When we say the complexion for protection, this is what we mean. You confused about it? You must be new here. I'll see you in 2 and 2. You know how we do.
We never go in no neighborhoods and take people out.
A chaotic scene in court this morning in Buffalo, New York, at the sentencing hearing for the gunman in the Tops supermarket shooting. During an emotional victim impact statement, a man lunges at the defendant. Court officers quickly stopped the man before he got to the defendant. Both men were escorted out of the courtroom through separate doors. Later in the hearing, the defendant offered a tearful apology to the families of the shooting victims. He pleaded.
He offered a "I'm sorry I got caught" bullshit. Now, we know the victims in this case were Black. You saw how many officers were in the courtroom? Y'all remember yesterday when it was reported on the woman who murdered her live-in boyfriend, dismembered him, was even having sexual relations with an appendage of his? Head in the cooler, everything. She attacked her attorney. There was one lowly bailiff in the courthouse. This is what we mean by the complexion for protection. Whew. But I digress. Let's move on to some Trump news. Coming from the BBC, Georgia grand jury report. Witnesses may have lied in Trump 2020 election probe. A Georgia judge has released parts of a highly anticipated report on whether former President Donald Trump and allies broke the law in their attempts to overturn his election laws. First of all, we already know they broke the law. Senior Garland, get it together. Come on. Vámonos, vámonos. Andale, andale. The report summarizes a 2-year grand jury probe into their conduct after Mr. Trump narrowly lost the state in 2020. They're saying it was narrow now. It wasn't narrow. Okay. We're not gonna tell the okay. It says the grand jury believes some witnesses who weren't named, name them. Y'all love tossing names out. The Trump camp loves tossing names out, saying people ain't shit. Anywho, it says the grand jury believes some witnesses who weren't named committed perjury by lying under oath on the stand. Oh, they all lie because they think Trump has more power than he does. Baby, he ain't president and he's not a czar. He ain't King Chucky. He ain't Putin. And the last czar we know about, we still trying to find Anastasia. But dozens of witnesses, including several prominent Republicans, were interviewed by the special grand jury. Much of the brief report, pages 2 through 7, remain hidden from the public. Well, because they do still need to prosecute him. Only its introduction, conclusion, and a section detailing perjury concerns were unsealed on Thursday. Because once again, they still need to prosecute him. Y'all do watch Law and Order, right? Y'all watch Blue Bloods. Y'all watch NCIS, right? Hell, you could watch Night Court and figure this shit out. The latter section states, a majority of the grand jury believes that perjury may have been committed by one or more of the witnesses testifying before it. The unsealed portions of the document do not reveal which witnesses may have lied under oath. No shit. You want to use that as leverage for them to turn state's evidence. Are y'all new here? Are they new on Earth? Are they just new to the United States? Okay. The 26-member panel also rejected false claims from Mr. Trump that the election had been rigged, saying it found by a unanimous vote that no widespread fraud took place in the Georgia 2020 presidential election that could result in overturning the election. Yeah, everybody knew that shit was fake. Everybody that's still holding on to they know they're lying. They're just trying to convince everybody else so they lie. They think that we all taking the same cocaine that Don Jr. and Don Sr. are taking. Thank goodness they named the youngest boy Barron, because Don seems to be a bad name. Like it seems to come with addiction attached to it. The grand jury cannot issue indictments itself, but it can recommend that the county's district attorney, Fannie Willis, whose office launched the investigation, bring charges. Y'all didn't know that after all these damn grand juries that have been public? Okay. Miss Willis, a Democrat, the fuck does that? She's a DA. Like, no different than the SCOTUS and the generals that are at the State of the Union address. They can't say if they're partisan or not. Anywho, has promised to have a decision soon. Y'all trying to make this seem like a witch hunt against a fucking criminal. But you say that we're making a martyr out of George Floyd, who was murdered on camera. If charges are filed, it is at the point that the public will learn more about the evidence the prosecution has to support its case. First of all, given that the DA has already fought for this to be sealed so that she could proceed with her case, charges are coming. Charges are coming. Oh, Danny boy, the charges are forthcoming. Oh, Danny boy. I'm just saying, it's all, do what you do when you do it. I'm just saying. But before we go any further, you already know my safety safe this week is my Black History Month majestically melanated slate gray sweatshirt from my collection. But let's get into the Black History Month and see you in 2 and 2. You know how we do.
Black people stand up, feel good. Beat proud of yourself as you should. And if you darker than the brown paper bag, wave your fists in the air, time to make these haters mad. They treat us like we came from the sewer, and everything we do, they try to outdo us. We made the traffic light, they write tickets. I ain't got to tell them, they already know where to stick it. We made the subway, they got scepter. Now everybody eating off of that except us. One thing we known for is our bravery, and Paul Kufi was an entrepreneur during slavery. You wonder why we like t-shirts that's white? Maybe because we used to pick cotton in another life. For Granville Woods and Maggie Lena Walker, put your lighters in the air now and spark up. One of the things that they never made clear, why Black History Month is shortest one of the year. Just one of the things that make me think.
I know that the role of Rosa Parks hasn't been assigned to any of the dancers yet, and I really want to take this opportunity to speak with Abby and find out.
We've just skirted over such a fucking mental sentence. We've just been sat here as if it's a normal thing to say, I know the role of Rosa Parks hasn't been handed to a dancer yet. What do you mean? I don't know. Why is Rosa Parks even a thing you can dance about?
Maddie's the strongest dancer, so I don't know if I'm going to use her for Rosa Parks and go against type. I have no idea.
Go against type? Well, she's just not that type of Rosa Parks. What are you talking about?
What type of Rosa Parks do you think you'd be?
A bad one.
The anti-blackness, the racism that is able to go on TV and nobody bats an eye on it. Like that mother literally said, the role of Rosa Parks hasn't been cast yet. Let me go see if my lily white Casper the Friendly Ghost ass daughter can take center stage as a Black woman and make this poignant for Black people. But y'all still don't believe that y'all whitewash history. Because I'm pretty sure if you could put out a Rosa Parks story and cast it as all white, you would. That's why y'all love to keep things in black and white. Because I'm pretty sure a bunch of y'all will say that Walter White was white. Now, did he crisscross back and forth across the lines? Yep, sure did. So did Rosa Parks. But y'all don't like for nobody to talk disparagingly about Rosa. She's supposed to be the grande dame of the civil rights movement, but nothing she did made any changes. She was just a complexion that was palatable. Because Claudette Colbert, that was a lovely dark-skinned Black child. It was her SCOTUS case that brought change, not the Montgomery bus boycott that they love to sensationalize over movie after movie after conversation after conversation after conversation. And they love to tell you about all the change that Dr. King brought, but they don't like to tell you who put on those speeches, who hosted him, who picked up the pieces after he left, and who actually invoked the change. Woo. Let me be demure in continuing to write my book. Now, an update on a story that I first brought to you all last year regarding the health of the Honorable Mr. Bruce Willis. I did have this information last night, but I did not want to bring it up last night with my co-host. Given personal circumstances. And even though this hits close to home for me, the memory of Mr. Willis will always take me through hard times, and we're going to go through this, and I'm going to honor him as much as I can. Also coming from BBC News. Bruce Willis has dementia, his family announces. Actor Bruce Willis has frontotemporal dementia, his family has announced. In a statement on social media, they said it was a relief to finally have a clear diagnosis. The 67-year-old was diagnosed with aphasia, that's what we talked about last year, which causes difficulties with speech in spring last year, but this has progressed and he has been given a more specific diagnosis, the family said. They expressed their deepest gratitude for the incredible outpouring of love. The family went on to say, frontotemporal dementia is the most common form of dementia in people under 60. It is. I've had to deal with this with family members of my own, and my heart goes out to the family. Before I continue with this article, I don't know if this will reach the family, just this part. Stay strong. Don't argue with them. Cherish the moments that you have and live in the moments that they share with you at the time they share them with you. You may not understand what I'm saying right now, but very soon you will. Today, there are no treatments for this disease, a reality Today, there are no treatments for this disease, a reality that we hope can change in the years ahead, the statement said. Willis became a household name in the 1980s and 90s after starring in blockbuster films such as Die Hard, The Sixth Sense, Armageddon, and Pulp Fiction. No, we're not going to disrespect him like this. Nope, because a lot of us moonlighting. Sorry. He has also been nominated for 5 Golden Globes, winning 1 for Moonlighting. Thank you. Don't say that he was just introduced to us because of him on the silver screen. Don't. I am not a family member. I know he makes us all feel like we family members, but let me get myself together. He has also been nominated for 5 Golden Globes, winning 1 for Moonlighting, and also 3 Emmy. My apologies. He has also been nominated for 5 Golden Globes, winning 1 for Moonlighting, and also 3 Emmys, where he won 2. But his family said last year that Willis would give up acting as his aphasia was affecting his cognitive abilities. The new statement on Thursday said they hoped media attention would raise awareness of the actor's condition. It said Bruce always believed in using his voice in the world to help others and to raise awareness about important issues, both publicly and privately. And let me tell you, it's been a combination of Bruce Willis and Whoopi Goldberg that have given me a voice. You know, I was that awkward kid. But let me just say this to the family. Don't fight it. Go with it. Relish in the memories as they are shared. Okay. My apologies. Let's move on to the state of Montana and what they're doing there. Let's do that.
A bill in Montana would ban the teaching of a number of scientific theories, including gravity, cell theory, and evolution in the public school curriculum. More than 20 people have testified against this bill. This is Senate Bill 235 in Montana. What the legislature wants to do is regulate the science curriculum and actually prevent the teaching of the established and accepted scientific theories. They claim they want to prevent kids from being taught things that are untrue. But what it would actually allow them to do is prevent teaching of what are the accepted scientific theories. Now, remember, in science, theory has a different meaning than colloquially. If I come to you and I say, I have a theory that short people prefer the color yellow, right? Okay. It's a hypothesis. It's not really a theory, because in science, theory means the best explanation we have of the facts.
Let me take this a step further. I know some people take this as arrogant. Take it how the fuck you want to. At 5 years old, I was studying on a master's level with my papa, who was studying for his master's in chemistry. I understood the chemistry quite well. There's a difference between a scientist running a lot of experiments, doing social experiments, doing all sorts of things, gathering evidence and going, hey, this is my theory regarding this. And genuinely and generally, when a scientist says this is a theory, that means that there's still nuance, there's still intersectionality that can come into play. But here's the general rule. Catch what I'm putting down? So to say we're going to take the general rule of science and toss it out, we already found out that people were getting fake nursing degrees and certifications out of Florida when we were wondering, like, how the fuck do you get into a science-based profession and not believe in the science? We now know. And this is further pushing that. Now, I don't know about you, but I have some pre-existing conditions that I don't need lame brains to ask me about and to not give me proper care about. I don't want the ozone layer to be completely depleted and we burn alive. Because what was the point of listening to your doctor's recommendations for a long, healthy life and putting all these moisturizers on our skin and watching what we eat and working out just for science to be denied? I need y'all to keep some things in mind. The United States does not have a nationalized language. It does not have a nationalized religion. See, y'all love to teach little kids in elementary school that the Pilgrims came for religious freedom, but then indoctrinate them into believing this is a Christian nation. Like the hypocrisy of it all. This is why y'all don't want critical thinking taught. And see, you're not just afraid of critical race theory, you're afraid of the Paideia method of teaching. That's how I was taught from middle school through high school. If you don't know what Paideia is, Google is free, baby. Google is free. But got some more articles with some more updates. Might be hard for y'all to believe, but coming from the Business Insider, Kimberly Guilfoyle says her ex-husband, Gavin Newsom, yes, the liberal governor of California, Gavin Newsom, will run for president in 2024 because he's always wanted to be POTUS. Key points. Kimberly Guilfoyle, who's currently dating the cokehead, Don Jr. I'm not even going to say allegedly. We see the evidence all over line. Go ahead. Threaten to sue me like your daddy threatens to sue everybody else and loses in court every single time. Says she thinks Gavin Newsom will run for president in 2024. Guilfoyle says her ex-husband has always wanted to be president of the United States. Newsom has said on multiple occasions that he has no plans to run for president. Former Fox News host turned right-wing commentator Kimberly Guilfoyle says she thinks her ex-husband, California Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom, will run for president in 2024. Guilfoyle was asked whether she thought Newsom had presidential ambitions during a Wednesday appearance on the Charlie Kirk show. Do I think? I know he's going to run for president, Guilfoyle said. He's always wanted to be president of the United States. Is she thinking about the man that she's hoping will be her father-in-law because she thinks that that's the golden goose ticket and she hasn't forgotten that she's changed her whole personality trait because she thinks that, you know, suckling the boot of Trump is a gold mine and it's not? Did she not learn anything from? Never mind. I think you're going to see Gavin Newsom versus Donald J. Trump running against each other for president, Guilfoyle predicted. Father-in-law and ex-husband. No, I think it's going to be DeSantis v. Trump, but you know, I could be wrong. But for more updates coming from KenoshaNews.com. Now we all know that Kyle Rittenhouse was acquitted. Now, given that he was acquitted, all these other court cases and their judgments, they have me clutching my pearls because if he's innocent and that's now precedent, you know what? Let me just read y'all the article. Like I said, coming from KenoshaNews.com, Dominic Black, the man who bought gun for Kyle Rittenhouse, sentenced for fleeing Kenosha police. Didn't we learn in that trial with Kyle Rittenhouse that he fled the police and was hidden by family? Yeah, we did. We did. That's what he did. But they found him innocent. Yeah. He had a different judge. That judge seemed like he was getting favors in a gluck kind, but I don't know. The man who bought a rifle for Kyle Rittenhouse was sentenced to 6 months in jail and 3 years probation on Wednesday evening for attempting to flee or elude police last year on a motorcycle. He didn't kill anybody. So how did Kyle get off scot-free? But let me continue. There might be some more details in this. Dominic D. Black, 21, pleaded guilty to attempting to flee or elude an officer, a Class 1 felony, before Kenosha County Circuit Court Judge Angelina Gabriel. Black, who now resides in Maryland, appeared in court with defense attorney Michelle Gardner. Assistant District Attorney David Tambasco appeared for the state. Black, now convicted felon, is prohibited from ever owning a firearm, along with other prohibitions. The prosecution and defense had asked for probation and jail time only if he violated the terms of his probation. They also asked for 2 related felony bail jumping charges to be dismissed. He didn't shoot anybody. He didn't kill anybody. He didn't cross state lines. He was not. But I mean, if Kyle was innocent, and they're saying it was legal for him to have the weapon, how is it now illegal for him to buy the weapon? If Kyle wasn't deemed illegal in fleeing and hiding, how is it illegal for him to do this? Complexion for the protection. Yeah. They needed a scapegoat. They needed that color purple win. That's they didn't give it. When the color purple was up on the stand, but now the ghost is. Oh, this is the ghost trial. This is okay. All right. In the end, Gabrielle sentenced Black to 6 months of conditional jail time and 3 years probation on fleeing or eluding charges. He must report to the Kenosha County Jail on Saturday. I take this very seriously, Gabriel said. You were lucky no one was injured. Does she live on the same planet that the rest of us live on? You sentenced him to jail. 2 people died. 1 person was maimed. Kyle Rittenhouse is now facing civil charges. The fuck? Am I having a stroke? I don't smell burnt toast. What the fuck? Let's go on to some more complexionary bullshit. January 6th and the cop trader. Don't believe me? Just watch.
This is Shane Lamont. He's a lieutenant with the DC Metro Police who was suspected of passing information to the Proud Boys in advance of the January 6th attack on the Capitol. As a side note, the Proud Boys wanted to call him as a witness for the defense. Interesting, isn't it?
But it was the left, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and Democrats. Why would we want to keep Trump in office? Nobody's calling us to be defendants. And speaking of further bullshit, once again coming from the Business Insider, Representative George Santos barricaded himself in his district office as angry constituents stood outside demanding his resignation. Here are the keynotes. Representative George Santos hid from constituents who tried to deliver a petition to him on Wednesday. You know, they don't have to present you with the petition. Anywho, the embattled lawmaker sent a staffer to talk to the group instead, per multiple reports. Pretty sure I know which staffer that was. The Coontastic Coalition member. I'm not hiding. As you're literally hiding? Okay. Santos had tweeted the day before the encounter. Okay, you know, whatever you say. But, okay, we were up to 2 that we knew unequivocally lied about their resumes. Like, we know about the 2 that didn't lie about their resumes, and their resumes were subpar, Bobert and MTG. But now we're up to 3 who have completely fabricated everything. Like everything. Oh, once again, don't believe me? Just watch.
Kevin McCarthy's hold on Congress is razor fucking thin. That's why he won't get rid of Santos, whose entire fucking history is a lie. He won't get rid of Luna, who her history is a lie, whose grandpa fought with the fascists and not with the Allied forces. And now we have Tennessee Congressman. 2 hours ago, Nashville WTVS published an explosive piece on the newly elected Congressman Andy Ogles. He's allegedly invented his entire past. He's lied about being an economist. He lied about being a college major. He lied about working at a think tank. He lied about being in law enforcement. He lied about being an internationally recognized sex trafficking expert and being a COO of an international organization. Can you say security threat? All fucking 3 of them? And make no mistake, those 3 have total power over McCarthy. McCarthy's beholden to them. Remember, he changed the rules. All it takes is one of them to call for a vote of no confidence. So our Supreme Court's compromised and our Congress is compromised.
This is why I tell y'all it's a slippery slope. When you let one person slide, you got 5 sliding in behind them. You got 5 sliding in behind them. And y'all do realize you're vetted by your party. So they already knew, and they didn't care. They just knew who looked good on paper to get votes. They don't care about your interest, but y'all don't care about that. Y'all just care about being superior to non-white folks and people who decide not to have children. And a bunch of y'all should have never had kids. But let's get into Mommy Issues Tucker having an issue with a woman who had the same ambitions as his biological mother, who decided, I'm going to do the right thing and not have kids like his biological mother should have done, instead of giving him horrendous mommy issues that his daddy compounded with daddy issues and his stepmama compounded with stepmama issues. But I digress. Google is free. Let's get into it. See you in 2 and 2. Y'all know how we do.
Day in the life of a childless woman. The point is to make you feel good about being an aging, deeply unlikable woman who never had kids.
Feminists like Chelsea Handler, they've been lied to by their society forever. That you could be a girl boss and you can do anything a man can do, which everyone who's ever seen a woman back up a vehicle knows that's not true. Your womb resembles a dried up tumbleweed blowing down an old western town, and your Valentine's Day date for the 10th year in a row is a 10-year-old copy of Magic Mike and a half-full bottle of Xanax.
This lady is miserable. I mean, she is miserable, and it's written all over her face how miserable she is.
Hey everyone, I woke up this morning, well, more like this afternoon, and noticed that there was an emergency meeting of the Receding Hairline Society to discuss a comedy video I filmed about not wanting kids. Wow. Why would I even need my own children when I get to hear these crybabies all the time? I mean, I can't believe that bearded version of Tucker Carlson thinks I would take half a bottle of Xanax. I take way more than that, you silly goose. Look, I don't want to debate whether or not I'm a girl boss, although I did just look at my bank account and think, that's pretty girl boss. And then I thought about the 10 plus different people I've been able to put through college. And then I remembered my 6 New York Times best-selling books. Or was it 5? Oh, no, it was 6. And then I remember my recent stand-up special that was just released on Netflix called Revolution. And I thought, yeah, you are a girl boss. You guys seem so triggered by me. I mean, my goodness, Tucker, I think it is time for you to ask yourself a serious question. Are you really upset about how much freedom I have? Or are you upset that you haven't been able to take it away from me yet? Oh, and quick shout out to Ben Shapiro. Thank you for helping my cause of not having children. Who needs the birth control pill when your voice is 100% effective? I don't need a husband, Ben, because I'm in a relationship with myself. And at least in my relationship, someone can get a woman to come. And by all means, Tucker, if you want to respond to my triggers, I will be happy to keep putting out videos as long as you want. I think we both know that you are hate masturbating to me, and I'm down with that.
Now let's not forget that Tucker Carlson's own biological mother left him to pursue her own careers because his father wasn't down for that. And his stepmother is a girl boss. She even changed his middle and last name. If you like ketchup, I guess you like her. Because she's a part of the ketchup czar hood of the United States. So isn't it amazing that Donald J. Trump and Tucker Fucker Carlson come from strong girl boss women who were able to establish the wealth point that made them comfortable and got them their positions to this day, but they hate on women. Well, I'm about to head over to TikTok because I haven't given any factoids with Taz in a little bit. So I'm about to drop a really big factoid with Taz here in about 5 minutes. But I will see you all tomorrow. And as always, each one teach one, each one reach one. Y'all be good out there. Or be like me. Ruffle the feathers.